What if I told you a former Rookie of the Year winner ended up banned from the NBA? Look, nobody should ever be disappointed in an NBA career that lasts a decade. No matter what, that level of sustained excellence in one of the most competitive industries in the world is worth applaud. But it's hard to look back at the career of Tyreke Evans and not wonder what could have happened if things worked out a little differently. He felt like a street ball legend put into a 6'6" body. He had one of the most underrated dribble packages of the 2010s, the creativity to find layups that nobody else was even looking for, and the size to make plays at the rim. And after he won Rookie of the Year, scoring 20 points per game at age 20, it looked like the league was his. But Tyreke Evans never got back to those numbers again. He was never an all-star, he never won a playoff game, and yeah, he ended his career banned from the NBA. So what happened? Sit down, strap in, and let us tell you a story. It was clear coming out of college that Tyreke Evans was going to be an exciting NBA player. He led Memphis to a 33-4 record that included a 26-game win streak as a jumbo point guard with elite straight line and lateral speed. He averaged 17 points per game and 2.1 steals. And despite a shaky outside shot and less than stellar passing, scouts were enamored by his physical profile and ability to beat anybody off the dribble.
With the 4th pick in the 2009 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings select Tyreke Evans from the University of Memphis.
Evans was drafted 4th overall to the Sacramento Kings in a stacked draft with point guard talent, the first of 4 straight lead guards to go off the board, ahead of Ricky Rubio, Johnny Flynn, and a guy out of Davidson named Stephen Curry. Pundits liked the pick because of Evans' fit with Kevin Martin, the Kings' best player at the time. Martin wasn't an elite level creator, but he was an efficient scorer, great shooter, and felt like a franchise cornerstone. Enter a downhill attacker like Evans, and the Kings had one of the best young backcourts in the league. And immediately, it paid off. The duo of Martin and Evans was electric, and both players averaged more than 20 points per game despite Martin missing almost half the season with injuries. The extra space on the court afforded by the NBA meant that the driving lanes clogged by college bigs were wide open for Evans to make magic happen. In a league where rookie guards almost always struggle, Evans looked better than he did at Memphis. The Kings were still bad, Evans still couldn't shoot, and he was prone to making mistakes. But he averaged 25-5 his rookie season en route to winning Rookie of the Year. Only 10 rookies have been able to score 20 points per game since 2000, and Evans was doing it when teams still scored less than 100 per game on average. To put it in perspective, the only players in 2009-2010 to average 25-5 were the MVP, LeBron James, the Finals MVP, Kobe Bryant, and Rookie of the Year, Tyreke Evans. That's some pretty good company. But around the All-Star break in his sophomore season, Evans would start to be plagued by foot issues. He was suffering from plantar fasciitis, a degenerative foot injury that erodes collagen in the heel, causing massive pain. Even when he did return after missing more than a month, he didn't seem to be as explosive as he was before, and his numbers dipped across the board. Look, injuries didn't help Evans' development, but playing for the Kings in the 2010s is as deadly to a career as any injury. After his rookie year, the Kings traded Kevin Martin, then drafted DeMarcus Cousins, Jimmer Fredette, and Isaiah Thomas, leaving no room at point guard for Evans. He was miscast as a 2-guard for most of his time in Sacramento and most of his career. He covered 2 guards on defense because of his height, but he wasn't the world's best defender. He thrived with the ball in his hands, but because he wasn't an elite passer, the Kings didn't trust him to run the offense. He wasn't the best off-ball and shot below 30% from 3 in 3 of his 4 years in Sacramento. The Kings just simply didn't know how to utilize his strengths, and instead of letting him work as a pure scorer, he had to contend with guys like Boogie and Jimmer for touches. He could have fit into the mold of someone like a Baron Davis, a scorer who wasn't dangerous from 3-point range, but could use the threat of his ability to get to the rim to open up passing lanes and develop as both a scorer and a playmaker. But the Kings saw it differently. In a league that was becoming more focused on shooting, they decided that Evans' style of play and injury history wasn't worth keeping around, shipping him off to New Orleans for Gravis Vasquez, a player who would only play 13 games in Sacramento. His time in New Orleans felt more suited to his skill set as a microwave scorer. He was playing small forward, but led the Pelicans' second unit and got to focus on what he did best, getting buckets with the ball in his hand. Then he moved up to the starting unit, and despite still not having a reliable three-point shot, led the Pelicans in minutes in 2014-15. He got votes for most improved player, and he made the playoffs for the first time in his career. Evans was a legitimate second option on a team that won 45 games. And despite getting swept in the playoffs and not playing particularly well against the eventual champions, Tyreke Evans was 25 years old. He played 79 games that year and scored 16.6 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 6.6 assists. Evans nearly posted a career-high true shooting percentage and notched above 30% from three. Look, it wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Evans was a grinder, obsessively devoted to his craft, and was rounding out his game and making the Kings look stupid for giving up on him. It felt like he was just entering his prime, and after missing the first 17 games of the next season recovering from off-season knee surgery, Evans somehow looked even better than before. In fewer minutes per game, he was averaging the same stats as the year prior, except he was somehow shooting 38% from three. His biggest weakness became the strength over the course of a summer, and Tyreke Evans was having a career renaissance. And then he got hurt. Again. He had knee, hip, and ankle injuries that prevented him from taking the next step in his development over the next 2 years of his career. He got traded back to Sacramento in a deadline deal for his former teammate, DeMarcus Cousins, and missed most of the rest of the season before signing with the Grizzlies. And just like always, it felt like Tyreke Evans was reaching a new level. He averaged 19, 5, and 5 again, was shooting nearly 40% from three on 5.5 attempts per game, had career-high advanced stats across the board, and was again getting recognition for most improved player. But again, all momentum was halted when he suffered a rib injury and missed most of the second half of the season. The Grizzlies weren't good when he played, but they were abysmal when he didn't. They were 19-33 in games that Evans played, and just 3-29 once he was out. Despite his health issues, Evans still had a real impact on winning basketball games when he was available. After signing with Indiana that next summer, Evans' play regressed. He was shuffled down the depth chart, now more of a rotational bench piece than a real offensive hub. In Victor Oladipo's career season, Evans' skill set was somehow redundant, and his numbers dipped. While it was disappointing, it felt like his skill set could be utilized better on another team. After all, he was just a year removed from his best season in the association, and he was still on the right side of 30. He's a grinder. We've seen it before. He'll work his way back.
And some news coming down from the league offices, Bobby.
Yeah, the league just announced that Tyreke Evans has been dismissed from the NBA for violating the anti-drug policy, a violation of the one of 8 drugs of abuse that's not listed here. And
breaking news to report to you now. A Pacers player is off the team and banned from the NBA. The team released a statement saying today they were informed by the league that Tyreke Evans has been dismissed from the NBA for violation of the league's anti-drug policy.
On May 17, 2019, it was announced that Tyreke Evans had been dismissed from the NBA for 2 years for what the league described as a violation of the anti-drug program and usage of one of the NBA's 8 drugs of abuse. The drug policy had been in place since the early 80s, when the league had a massive cocaine problem.
Drugs and the NBA do not mix. If you want to get involved in drugs, you will not be involved with the NBA.
Believe me, if you don't use drugs, you can just about be anything you want to be. Listen, you got at least 3/4 of your life to go. That's 3 more lifetimes to you. So don't blow it. Don't do drugs. If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help.
At that point, heavy sentences were handed down to discourage the widespread drug use that was running rampant throughout the league. Players were suspended, players were banned, and the league moved on, but not without massive media scrutiny through most of the late 70s and early 80s. The policy had remained largely unchanged, with the obvious exception being that they no longer tested for marijuana as of 2021. But what does this have to do with Tyreke Evans? The policy was made as a way of cracking down on the drug problem in the NBA, but in 2019, those times had long since passed. The 2 most recent examples of drug use being penalized in the league before Evans were O.J. Mayo, who was banned for 3 years in 2016 and never returned to the league, and Chris Birdman Anderson, who was suspended for 2 years in 2000. 2006. While Evans did break the rules, the association he had given his life to turned its back on him when he needed it the most. Instead of helping him clean up his act, the league unceremoniously banned Evans from ever playing again. And while he attempted to come back in 2022 after the league agreed to reinstate him, it was short-lived. He had been out of the league for 2 years, was now on the wrong side of 30, and coming off one of the worst seasons of his career. Evans most recently played for the Broncos de Caracas in Venezuela in 2023. There isn't always a storybook ending in real life. A player with Evans' blend of talent should have been remembered for being special, for his highlights. He should have played in more playoff games. He should have been a part of real contenders. He should have been able to build on a special rookie season in a system that appreciated him for what he brought to any team he played on. But not everyone can reach their potential. It's what makes those that do so extraordinary. And while Tyreke Evans should have been more, it's not our job to yearn for the hypothetical. Our job as fans is to appreciate the Tyreke Evans that we got to see for a decade in the NBA. The hard worker who played exciting hoops, the explosive athlete who looked primed to take the league by storm, and most importantly, the certified bucket.
What's going on, everyone? Andrew Fenichel here, founder and creator of Athlete Anthology. Our mission with this channel is to tell the story of every athlete ever, because we believe every athlete has a story to tell. So thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Make sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments below who you want to see us do next. And if you like this one, we think you'll like one of these too. See you next time.